Awesome. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Canva Lab for Teachers. My name is Josh Voiles. I'm an instructional tech coordinator with Midland Independent School District with the technology integration team. I'm joined by a few here in my team. Ms. Isabel Espinoza, who is the Director of Technology Integration, and also some others. And then I think we actually have some teachers joining us still as we speak. But since it's already 4, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. Just want to remind everyone, I'm going to shrink my my Google Meet here, but I will try my best to keep an eye on the chat. And also, you're more than welcome to open up a microphone, ask questions anytime that you wish. So let's go ahead and jump into Canva Lab for Teachers. So the first thing before we get started is we're going to be covering some really cool apps today. All of this is geared for teachers, basically just to help make teaching, more easy with technology, obviously. So these are some cool things that I thought I would like to share that I think are really useful for teachers, especially teachers, of course, that are using Canva. So you're going to need Magic Media, Google Drive. You'll need the Translate app, the Charts app, an app called Bulk Create, and the QR code app for what we're going to be looking at today. And you can find the apps right there in the design window underneath the text and the projects and all of those things on that side menu. Right there, whenever you're designing inside of a template, you'll see the little apps. So you can go into that, and there's like hundreds of apps in there, but you might have to search these out by typing into the search, but you can go ahead and find those and add those in as well. Also, throughout the next couple of slides, you will see a QR code down there on the corner. That is so that you can grab my presentation for yourself. If you are joining later and you don't see anything, though, just don't worry. I will actually send this out to everyone who is joining today. Don't freak out too bad also if you didn't sign up in Eduphoria, because I will be grabbing everyone's attendance from this Google Meet as well. And so if you're in the Google Meet, I will grant you that and send you all of the all of this information probably tomorrow, if not Monday. So don't freak out. I will send all of this to you. Basically, my presentation here is just kind of a little cheat sheet, and I'm going to actually keep it over here on the corner so that I can remember what we're going over in order today. We're going to be taking a look at, like I said, this is all productivity for teachers. We're going to be looking at presentations, Magic Write, hopefully some of the data tools I think would be useful to you, and some cool AI stuff in Canva as well. So here is just kind of, I'm not going to go through this exhaustively, but just some of the bullets of what we're looking at today. If we have time, hopefully get through all of this. So the last thing, there's some more of the data tools, and then I wanted to give you guys some of the links as well, because for some reason some of these pages are just kind of hard to find in Canva, and we're going to be talking about Canva education. And so I don't know why I can't always find it on the homepage of Canva, but if you type it in on Google and you search for it, it's pretty easy to find. So I'm just providing these links for you as well. Okay, and then last but not least, I'll try to go back to this at the end, but just in case, I want to go ahead and show you this is our session ID. It's 42033. If you want to give me your feedback today, that would be greatly appreciated. Whether I did bad or good, you can let them know. And so there's the session ID and the QR code also. And this is not mandatory, but if you can give me a rating, that would be fantastic. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and just switch back here. I'm going to switch to the next tab. And the first thing I will talk about really quick is Canva, the Canva Education Library and resources for teachers in Canva. So if you didn't know this, you can go to canva.com/education. They've got a really cool, basically a hub of all kinds of great stuff for teachers. And so There's a few things on here that I want to focus on, but obviously there's not enough time to look at everything, but you can actually go in here and get verified as a teacher. That's really cool. Highly recommend that. There's a lot of great activities. There's things specifically for teachers in here. It says you can get started with Canva Education 100% free. And so there's a lot of really cool classroom tools. It talks about how Canva Education will connect with all of your classroom tools, including Google Classroom, since we are a Google district. There's a lot of great lessons in here that you can use as well. But the thing that I want to focus on right now is a couple of things right in here. There's the first one, which is resources for teachers. So if we click on that, you're going to see, and this is something I'm actually going through, there's something called Teacher Essentials. And basically this is, you can learn how to use Canva tools to create engaging teacher resources, lesson plans, and activities. And it uses AI-powered tools to save time and track progress. So you can see here what I've done is I've already actually started. There's these courses here that you take. It's really cool. I'm just barely on lesson 2. And at the end of it, you can actually earn a certificate. It's basically a 20-question test. So that's really cool if you want to become like Canva Education certified. I'll just give you a little snippet of what a lesson looks like. On every lesson, I think every lesson, if not most, they come with basically a video. It has a transcript, and then you watch the video, and then I think you answer some questions or you do an activity, and it's pretty cool. But I'm going to go ahead and go back. And so I just wanted to show you guys those. And, you know, the lessons, there's not a ton of lessons you have to go through. Boost creativity. It teaches you Magic Studio, lesson planning, engaging assignments, all kinds of cool stuff. And so that's the first resource that I wanted to show you all. And then also there's these really cool templates. If we click into the ready to use templates, you can see here it takes you right. Now you can find these right from the home page by just searching education or teacher or just science, math, art, whatever keyword you want to use. But here they're all grouped into one place, all of the education templates. Now, just to give you a really cool example, I actually found one that I wanted to show. This is a presentation template about solar eclipses, and I thought this was really cool. So this is just an example of the great education templates that you'll be able to find in that area. By the way, I created this little Mars rover animation myself. I thought that was really cool. I like to use astronomy because it's one of my favorite favorite subjects in school. And so I'll show you guys how to do that here in just a second. But that's just a great little preview of some of the really cool education templates in Canva. All right, the next thing I want to show you is, once again, this link is in the presentation that I will share out with you tomorrow. You can also find it by going to canva.com/pdf-editor. And so if you go to that specific website or that specific page, this is a really cool, this whole page is filled with all kinds of ways that you can edit a PDF. So no more going to all these crazy different PDF editors. I have one that I use a lot, but now I'm using Canva because it has everything. So you can slide through right here and it shows you all of the different things that you can use from this page. You can convert a PDF, you can do a PowerPoint to a PDF, a JPEG image to a PDF. You can even do a Word document to a PDF, which I thought was really cool. PDF to PNG. Pretty much anything you can think of. There's a PDF translator and there's a document translator as well. Oh, also you can delete pages from a PDF. And so, you know, if you're using something else, keep using it. I know that also the Cami tool is really cool for PDF editing, and you can merge pages from different PDFs together, but you can also try using this. One thing I wanted to show off really that I thought was really cool really quick was this online PDF translator. And so let's say if you've got a PDF, we can actually, I can search through, I think I had a PDF here in my downloads. So here's this really cool science lesson, and it's for some reason it's not showing that I'm browsing right now on my computer, but let me just open that up. And so that's going to open up. I just uploaded this PDF from my downloads. This is like a science PDF that I found. about the scientific method. And so it's got this really cool like lesson that I found, and it talks about like forming a hypothesis and designing an experiment. And so with some of these, you might have to resize some of the text. uh, you know, there's a little bit of tweaking you might have to do depending, but it's really cool because it breaks down the PDF into all of these elements for me. And that's really cool just from a design standpoint, but also right here, I can come and let's just say I want to translate this to Spanish. So I can search the language. I can even choose a tone of voice. And then I can select translate pages or select from current. I'm just going to do the page. Just make sure if you want to do all the pages that you're selecting all of those pages. But I'm just going to do page 1 because this has more than one page. It'll not take as long if I just do one page. And so check it out. It actually did that for me. Like I said, you might have to be tweaking some of the text here, but it changed that into Spanish for me. And the cool part is it also keeps the English as well. So that's a really cool tool in my opinion. So check out that PDF translator. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to go back to my home page here. And then I'm going to search through some templates that I had. I had been using this template called Classical Mythology. And so I'm going to open that up and share that tab so that y'all can see that. And so now what I want to do is show you some really cool presentation stuff, design stuff for teachers. So this is presentation design for teachers. Here I've got this really cool presentation. If you're wondering how I got this, basically you can just come, even if you're starting out with a blank presentation with one white page blank, you can come over here onto your design and actually search through different layouts, and you can replace the layout. And look, and it's got all these cool, it actually gives you the pages. I think I went in here and just searched Greece, if I'm not mistaken. And so I would probably have to scroll through. There it is. And so you can see here, I actually just chose only a few pages, the ones that I wanted. But you could actually come in here and choose bring all 17 pages in if you wanted to. But that is how I did that. And once again, all of these templates are completely customizable. You can come in here and change the font, the colors. You can make stuff bigger or smaller, rotate. Really whatever you want to do. And so just to give you an example, so obviously that looks horrible. So I'm going to go back and undo those steps that I did there. But just so you know, all of these are fully customizable. So the first thing I wanted to do is show, this is actually a little, this did not come with the template. I searched over here in my elements. I just searched for Hercules. And he was one of those, if we click on see all graphics, there he is. And so you could choose whichever one you want, but that's just a cool way to actually introduce some graphics in there. And I want to just flip him the other way. This constellation, I think, was also something that I searched here in the elements area. And so and then a lot of this text, actually, if you're creating a lesson, it's pretty cool what you can do with the text tool. There's this magic write. And so if you basically just click on any text, it doesn't even matter if it's text that you bring in just from the side here. So say like if you have a little text box, any text, whatever I click on, you'll see the little magic pencil there. And so I'm going to just delete that one because I don't need it. But let me show you an example of what I mean here. So basically, we can come to here, and here I've got a blank slide. And I want to basically use Magic Write to write some text for me about Aristotle. Okay, so I'm going to Command C and Command V to duplicate that title. So I can literally just take the title text, and I can click on it and do Magic Write. And so what we're going to do is we're going to actually transform this text from basically what it is to a whole paragraph. So I'm just going to say, give me a short paragraph on Aristotle. And that's the AI is kind of working in the background here. I'm just going to go ahead and go with that. I'm not even going to read it. But I think that looks pretty cool. Now you might once again have to tweak the text here. I'm going to have to shrink this down a little bit. But that's a really great, that just gives you a really great idea of what you can do with the AI, basically just coming up with a lesson from scratch. It says, Aristotle was an ancient Greek philosopher and polymath whose work have profoundly influenced Western thought and intellectual history. And it goes into the rest of all of that about him. Now, let's say I want to come in here and change this a little bit. I can rewrite this. I have some options here. I can shorten it. I can make it more fun. I really like making it fun. And so this actually helps when, since we're talking to students, right? So now it says, say hello to Aristotle, the ancient Greek brainiac who was like the Swiss Army knife of philosophy. Pretty cool. So that's just the power of what you can do with this Magic Write tool. We can also come over here, and I wanted to show you an idea of what we could do with something called Magic Media. So Magic Media is actually an app. It's one of those apps. So what you want to do is you want to scroll down where you see it says apps. So there's this little apps guy, and we can search Magic Media. And there's Magic Media. It's kind of a plain looking app, but as soon as you open it up, it's going to dock over here on the side with all of your other apps so that you don't have to go searching for it again. And so now what I want to do is use Magic Media, and basically what it's going to do is take my text and turn it into an image. And I like this image of Aristotle, but I want something that can grab my students' attention. So I'm going to do Aristotle playing basketball. And now it's going to generate, the AI is generating 4 different images for me. That is so cool, I think. That is awesome. And so now what I do is basically I just choose the one that I want, and it drops it right in the design for me. Now I want to replace this one. So what I'm going to do is right click on there, and I'm going to click on detach image. And so now I can delete that image, and you can see here, anytime you see this little blue sky with the green grass, that's what's called a frame. And a frame is a very specific type of element. So if we go back into our elements area here, you can see here Canva has this whole group called frames. And so you see how all these different frames here, they're different shapes. You can choose one and bring it out there if you want. I kind of like this little arch. It kind of matches the theme. And so now if I just drag and drop that Aristotle on top, it will clip to that frame. So that is how you would do that. I can double click in here to actually expand it and then click out of it. And that's just kind of how you can frame your image within the frame. And so that actually would work really cool if you were talking about, like, who was the Greek guy who discovered the circumference of the earth? I forget his name. Anyways, it kind of goes with the theme though, even though I know it wasn't Aristotle, but you know, a Greek philosopher playing with a basketball. That's a good connection right there, in my opinion. All right, so the next thing I want to show you is this is really cool. Let's say you have some text. It can even be AI generated, but you can also come in here. We'll go back to the Magic Write, and then I want to do generate AI voice. So that's actually a new feature that's in there. And let's say we want to do a guy's
Exploring
voice.
classical Greek literature.
And we want to generate that. And so that's generating the AI voice. And now what it's going to do is add that at the bottom of my slides. And so when I go up here to present, let's go to present full screen.
Exploring classical Greek literature.
Now, basically what happens is it plays automatically right when you hit that slide. So if you're presenting in front of students,
Exploring classical Greek literature, one is immediately immersed in a world where gods and mortals coexist, their fates intertwined in tales of heroism, tragedy, and divine intervention. The
so it's
works of
pretty
Homer,
cool.
such as the Iliad and the Odyssey, transport readers.
So basically, I'm just going to exit out of that. You might go in there. I haven't explored all of the different options. You might be able to actually sync that only to one slide at a time, or you could just let it read the whole thing, or you could basically just trim it down from this area, this kind of little editor right here. It's kind of hard to grab, but you can see I can trim that down and make it shorter. So play around with that, but that's just another really cool way to use AI to get your students' attention. Okay, and now what I wanted to do is show you this feature here. You can actually put a quiz into your presentations as well for your students. So you could share this presentation out with your students and let them take a quiz. And so the way you would do that is I basically just created this quiz and I put it in there. And so to do that, what you would do is basically go back to your elements. It's not actually an app. It's just one of the elements. You just have to search for it. So I'm going to search for quiz in the elements area. Okay, and see, it gives us a few different types of quizzes. You basically can just choose the one that you like. So I chose this blue one. And so once you click on a quiz, it will basically just add that quiz into your design. And so now what we want to do is kind of control the parameters of this quiz. So what I can do is go, once I'm selecting on the quiz, these options appear at the top. Do you see that? So I'm going to click on edit. And this is where I can add multiple choice questions. I can add questions. I can add all of the different options that I want. And then of course I can put in, the choices. So I could ask them a question about like Aristotle and ask them, to choose. And then I can come in here and say that I can click this checkbox and say that that is the correct answer. And then if I go into settings, I get even more options for like if I want to put a title on the quiz and if I want to put a submit button. Once the students or the people take your quiz, you can come over to here to responses up here at the top. Of course, no one has responded yet to my quiz, but that is where you would look at your responses. All right, so I know I'm going through this really fast. Thanks, Samantha. I appreciate that. I'm going through this really fast, but I promise you, just play around with it. Canva's really easy. You'll figure it out how to do that if you just play around with it for a little bit. There's some more images that I created that I saved. Okay, a couple more things here inside of the presentation area. So obviously I talked about sharing this presentation with your students. So the way you would do that is basically just come up here to share. I think most people know this already. If you're, I think everyone's pretty much been using Canva at this point. But just in case you don't know how to share, you can come over to here and you can change the level of access. This works basically exactly the same as a Google slide. I can say anyone with the link, and then I can copy that link and copy that right into my Google Classroom or an assignment, or I can actually click on See All and go straight to Google Classroom from here. So there's the Google Classroom option, and I can connect that with my Google Classroom and share it. So that is how you can share it, and your students will be able to go through there and take the quiz and everything. Last thing I want to show you is, of course, we're talking about presentation design for teachers. So I want to show you some really cool stuff on the presentation part. So when we click present, you'll notice there's some options down here at the bottom. That's actually how I did my timer at the beginning of this. But what I want to show you here is some other really cool options. If we click on this little keyboard, you'll see it gives you some keyboard shortcuts. And so there's these really cool ones. I can actually do like a quiet. Can you guys hear that? Hopefully you can hear that. I can do confetti. That's pretty cool. I can do a curtain call. So maybe just grab my students' attention and they're wondering what the presentation is going to be about. And then I open up my presentation. So there's a lot of really cool things on here that you can use while you're presenting. And another really cool thing that I like is this area right here. I can actually do a, where did it go? There's a place in here I can do like Q&A. And oh, here it is. It's this little, I'm not sure what that symbol looks like. That's the interactive Q&A. And so what I can do is start a new session. It gives a QR code on my slideshow, or the students can go to canva.live and enter the code, kind of like if they were joining a Kahoot game or something like that. And you will be able to see their Q&A coming in and answer their questions. And then when you're finished, you can just end the session. So that's pretty cool, in my opinion, as well. Okay, so let's exit from this. And I think we're doing pretty good on time here. hopefully I'll let you guys go early. So the next thing I want to show you is some poster design stuff for teachers. So we talked about presentation design. I want to talk about poster design. So posters and presentations, I think, are probably the things that we're using the most as teachers. And so what I wanted to do is create this cool little, I had already done one from scratch, but I want to show you the power of using a template. So what I want to do is create like a prom poster for like my school. So let's say I'm a teacher at Midland High School, and basically what I want to do is create a poster for prom. And so I could even start with a blank page, and we can move that up. And let's say I want to come in here to design, and you could just type in prom into the design button right there. And you can see that's where I actually got that template. So I didn't create any of that. That's where I got it. So that's how you would do it. There's lots of different prom um, uh, templates in here. And so just to show you an idea, that's kind of where I started. So you don't have to start from scratch. You can get that. So I'm going to delete that though. I just wanted to show you where I got it. And so here I've got this really cool template, prom 2025. But I want to make it look more like Midland High. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of these elements. And actually, let's shrink down this guy. Actually, we probably don't need that. I want to create it my own way. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these elements, I'm going to push them to the side, and we can move those around how we want to later. And I'm going to come over here and add a frame. And then we'll make it kind of skinny like that. And then we will bring this kind of big. And then we can bring some of these little elements out to fit this more vertical layout that I've got here. We've got prom. Okay. And now the background I want to change to be, let's say, light blue. And now what I want to do is I want to add this purple square kind of at the bottom and give us kind of like an information. And then I'm going to send that to the back, and we'll kind of line that up with this. And then, of course, Midland High is purple, so I think we're going to change this to purple. And then what I want to do is have a QR code where, you know, students and parents can go in there and register. I know that's probably a bad example, but just to give you an idea. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to my apps, and I'm going to search for QR. I'm just going to put QR code. And there's this QR code app right here. That's the one I'm going to use. Once again, that's going to dock to your apps. And I'm just going to enter. Now, you can enter in basically anything that you want, any URL, but that's going to generate a code. I just typed in gibberish, but let's say you actually have a form, like a Google form. You can take that and basically paste that link into there, and it will generate a QR code for you right from Canva. So no more going to other websites to have to do that. Prom, I'm going to select that. We'll change it to purple as well. The 2025, we can change to gold. So now that's starting to look a lot more like Midland High, right? So you can play around with this basically however you want. And now right here, this is where I want to show you the Magic Media again. So let's go to Magic Media, and we can do, let's say, a bulldog wearing a tux with purple balloons. So this is really cool. I can actually work while that's working and then move some of this stuff around. That's pretty cool right there. I like that. And we can clip that right in. And before you know it, you're going to have, you know, a really cool poster to share out with the school. So obviously, I'm going to have to move some of these elements around to make it look a little bit nicer, but that's just an idea of how you could do that. So that's basically what I did with this one. One more thing that I want to do is I want to show you, you can go into elements. If you didn't know you can do this, I'm sorry, actually uploads. We're going to go to uploads, and you can see that I was searching for Bulldog already. We're going to go to the three dots here, and we're going to search for Google Drive, and you can see I've actually already used that. And so now I can connect my Google Drive. It's bringing up another page that you can't see, but now I've got my Google Drive connected, and I have a Midland High School logo here in my Google Drive. So that's cool, right? You can actually connect your Google Drive to your Canva. So I wanted to show you guys how to do that. And we could actually put that in here next to the QR code. And I would obviously move some stuff around to make that look better, but that's how you can do that. And so, or we could put him right here, maybe somewhere else. So anyways, you get the idea. That's just an idea of how you could do a poster. Now, let's say that you want to translate this, okay? There's actually a really cool translation tool. Once again, you can go to your apps and search for that, but I already have that open. But actually I do use so many, there it is, translate. I use so many apps. So we're going to go to translate, and let's say we want to translate this to Spanish. So this works very similar to the PDF translator, and I'm going to translate. And so the AI is working in the background. And so now, once again, I get two versions of the same poster, one in English, one in Spanish. Very cool. Last but not least, this poster I want to publish on X. So now what I can do is come up here to share, similar to how I shared my presentation. But now I'm going to do see all. I'm going to scroll down here and just click on Twitter X. And so now I can write my post. Obviously, you're going to have to come in here and click this plus sign if you've never done it before and connect a new account. But it's super easy as long as you have the login. So here I'm connected to our Midland ISD Tech account. I'm going to write my post. Right here, you can actually schedule to publish at a specific time. So it gives you a little calendar, and you can choose what time and what date, and then click done, and then you click schedule, and you'll see the little progress bar going through, and it's going to shoot that off right to your school's Twitter page. Very cool, in my opinion. Awesome. So we've got a little bit of time left. I only have like 3 more things that I want to show really fast. The next thing I want to share is something called bulk create. Bulk create is really cool, especially like if you're a principal or one of those teachers that gets, does a lot of for the school. So maybe you want to create like uh, certificates for graduation, or like a certain event or something special that was happening at the school, or for like a club or something, and you need to create a lot. And so I think a lot of times as teachers we need certificates, but it's a lot of work because we're having to create all these different designs with every single student on a different student's name on every page. Well, guess what? You don't have to worry about that anymore. All you have to do is go and get everything from like a sheet, and so you can have your students sign into a sheet or collect data on a sheet however you'd like, maybe through a Google form. And so what I've got here is a Google sheet, and it's got the student's first and last name, the teacher's name, and the principal. So this is just an idea of what you can do with the data. And so you could actually download this and bring it into Canva. I'm kind of lazy, so I'm just going to highlight all of the data here. I'm going to copy that, Control C to copy. I'm going to come back to my certificate um, template. And this certificate was a very basic template that I found. If you just search certificates on the templates, you'll find a great one. I promise you, there's a lot of really good ones. So this is just a very basic one, just to give you an example. And so now in the apps, I can come in here and search bulk create. And there's the bulk create app. So I'm going to click on that. And so now you'll see that it's going to take us through 3 steps. So the first step is bringing in the data. So you could upload a Google Sheet. Like I said, I'm going to be lazy. I'm just going to enter the data manually. And so when you do that, you'll see this page that gives you like kind of a blank spreadsheet inside of Canva, which is really cool in my opinion. I'm going to click up here on top of the number 1 cell where it says T for text, and I'm just going to paste that in. Whoops, paste in all of my data. And so it's got the first name, principal, all the fields that I need. I'm going to click done. Whoops, I don't know what happened. What did this do? This is acting crazy. I've actually never seen it do that before, guys. So for some reason, it actually dropped that in. Let me try this again. I've never seen that happen before. And I think Canva is actually glitching because that's not supposed to happen. Let's try this one more time. I'm not sure why it's doing that, y'all. Let me try this again. So we're going to go to bulk create. And let's try entering the data manually. And we'll add it to here. And we'll click done. Okay, yeah, that looks like it's working now. I'm not sure. I think Canva just glitched on me there. So now you can see step 2, it's bringing in all of the fields, which looks correct. It's got first name, teacher name, principal, all of that. So now what I do is on the actual design, whenever I click like an element like certificate or student name, notice what happens here on this. It's kind of hard to see. There's this little button that says connect data, this little option that comes up next to all of the text options. I'm going to click connect data, and now I get a list of all of the data fields, and I can choose which one. So this is actually the student name. So now you'll see there's a purple tag on that element, and it's matching that field. So I can just go through here and choose connect data. This is principal name. Here's teacher name. And I think you get the idea. Here's the date. So we'll connect that to the date. And then I think that's basically all I need. And so now I just click continue. You can see it's picking up all of those fields, all of those names, and I'm going to click this where it says create 15 designs. So that's preparing right now. And I can click on view design. That's going to open up in a new tab on a whole nother template, and check it out, guys. I've got I didn't even have to create all of those designs. It created all of those for me with the teacher name, the principal, and the student name on every page. Isn't that cool? And so now I can just download this and print them out, and I'm good to go. I didn't have to spend too much time. So I think that that's a really cool. Do you guys like that? I think that's really cool. All right, one more thing I want to show you. Thanks, Samantha. I appreciate it. Hopefully that helps. I think it's really cool. Thanks, Isabel. All right, and so now what I want to do is show you something called charts. Charts is another really cool. I'm going to breeze through this real quick because I don't want to keep everyone too long. It's 4:30 now. I think we're doing pretty good on time though. So I'm going to share another tab. So this is basically just a presentation template, plain old presentation template, but I want to create something really cool like this. And so once again, this comes in handy, like especially when you're presenting to like the whole school, or like you've got like your cohort or something like that, and you're going over student data or things of that nature, leading a PLC. In my opinion, this comes really handy. So once again, I can go to my apps, and it's already docked down here. You probably saw it because I've already opened it, but I can just search for charts. So charts is a really cool app in Canva. And so I click charts, and this is what it looks like when it opens up. It gives you all of these different chart designs that you can choose from. I really like this stacked bar. The single color bar is pretty cool, but the stacked bar actually will show multiple data at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Okay. So notice right away it just throws out this kind of basic example chart. And so what I can do here is the same way I did with the bulk create. I can expand this little data table, and I can drop in some data into this data table. So right within Canva. So what I have here is another example of some data, and I, believe it or not, just came up with this data from Gemini. I had Gemini generate some example data for me. So I'm going to highlight all of the data. I'm going to come back to my design, and I'm going to click right here on the top where it says label. You want to make sure you're putting in the labels on that first one. And so now we've got the month, the total students enrolled, absences, monthly rate, all of that. And I can come in here, and I can actually, it's in there now, and I can just close this out. So check it out. It actually brought in the data, and I'm looking at all of that. Now this design is kind of squeezed together but it's really cool. Check it out. I can actually just resize that. Isn't that amazing? And I can size that into my presentation to fit exactly where I need it to go. So now if I click back on the chart, notice here at the top, I can actually color code these things. So if I choose, like, let's say monthly or student absence, that's what I want. I want to change those maybe to red to show the absences in red. Check that out. Isn't that cool? Right? If I also click on edit, I can come back into the parameters of this data, and I can choose the labels to be something different. Like instead of month, I can do total students enrolled. I can do students present, and I can even choose more of these to show or take off some of the data. So you basically get to select which parts of the data will go into that. Now, for some reason, it redid the color. So you probably want to get that figured out first and then do some of the more coloring and the design. But that's just a really cool way that you can create a great looking graph or chart right in Canva using data that you might have already. So very, very cool. Okay, guys, last but not least, I have one last really cool thing to show you. I want to show you this thing in Canva. I really love this. You can find this right from the home page. This is probably the most powerful part of AI in Canva. If you just go on the home page, you'll see there's this brand new box, this little app called Canva AI. And what Canva AI is going to do is going to open up this whole new, basically it's a whole new part of Canva. We can scroll through here and look at templates that are all AI templates. Um, and so it'll give you all kinds of cool stuff. You can design with Canva. You can do videos with Canva. You can create images. You can do coding with Canva. So what I want to do is I want to show you how to do an AI quiz, to generate a quiz with AI. And basically, it's not just a quiz. This is like an interactive. It's more of like a game. And so what I'm going to do is if I click into this search, it says, describe your idea, and I will bring it to life. Now, what I want to do is filter these, instead of looking at videos and images and designs, I want to just look at code. So check it out. When I select code, it actually filters and it shows me everything that I can code. I can code a 3D space exploration game. You can code for like memory matching cards. There's historical timelines, all kinds of cool stuff, right? All kinds of activities. So you can take a look through there, but what I'm going to do is actually just code. I'm going to paste in an idea. So what I did ahead of time is I actually went to Gemini and I said, give me a cool prompt for a interactive biology quiz that I can paste into Canva AI. So instead of having to create that myself, I actually generated a prompt with another AI. So basically here, what Gemini gave me is basically a interactive biology quiz for middle school students that test the knowledge of basic concepts like cell structure, photosynthesis, and animal classification. Use emojis as visual elements throughout the quiz for plants, cells, and lab cultures, and for DNA. Track the progress with a growing plant icon that develops as the students answer correctly. See, this is all very creative that I never probably would have been able to come up with myself. Include 3 difficulty levels with age-appropriate questions. Use the nature-themed color palette with greens and blues and microscopic cell emojis. Really cool, right? So what I'm going to do is copy this. And once again, that's the beauty of AI is you can always come in and edit this or, tweak it yourself. Sometimes what Gemini or different AIs will give you actually gives you more creative ideas, and you can add to this prompt. So now I'm going to code for an interactive quiz in Canva. Now keep in mind that Canva is still basically starting out with Canva coding. I did come into some problems with something, there are some things that it just won't code. Like I tried to get it to do an interactive, basically like I wanted to do a template for a newsletter, and it kind of gave me just some basic ideas for templates. So when it comes to coding for like designing, it's still a little bit, it's in the process. But if it's like a basic game or something really cool, it's probably going to do a pretty good job. So you can see here it's coding all of the lines of, it actually shows you the lines of code. And this might take just a second. So if anybody has any questions, you're more than welcome to just open up your microphone or raise your hand or drop something in the chat and ask me a question. But this is the last thing that I wanted to show you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed this session. Just give me a thumbs up right now if you learned something new or if you think you can take something away from today's session. Awesome. Thank you so much. Samantha, I'm glad that helped. Oh, thanks, Isabel. I appreciate it. Awesome. And if you're watching later on YouTube, hopefully you've learned something from today as well. I really hope this finishes because I want to show you what it looks like. Samantha says, how is Canva education different from regular Canva? So that's a good question. From what I can tell, check it out. There's my quiz. So from what I can tell, Samantha, basically it's the same thing. It's just using Canva to give you a starting point, but it's kind of creating designs and giving you lessons based off of being a teacher, if that kind of makes sense. Shabir, thank you. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you can take something away from today. So check this out. Here is the biology challenge. Let's do medium, okay? Check it out, okay? I think this has music to it, but I'm not for sure. Maybe you guys can't hear it. So what is the powerhouse of the cell? Does anybody remember? Is it the nucleus?
Hey Josh, all I'm seeing is still your prompt.
Oh no. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Let me go back. Okay, so can you guys see that now? I'm so sorry.
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. So basically, I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. So I just pasted in the prompt into there, and I'll show you what it looks like. But here's the quiz already generated. So this is kind of what it looks like. So I believe it's the mitochondria, right? So
Yes.
and so yeah. So now and basically, I'm just gonna go. This is kind of what it looks like. That's what it looks like when you get the wrong answer. And so it's really cool. And so that's kind of what it looks like as a quiz. Really, really neat. And you can just basically publish this, and you can, it kind of gives it like an address, and you can publish it, or you can just share it with your students. This is the side that I pasted the prompt into. So that's, I don't think you guys got to see that. And so let me just show you what that looks like again. So when you give it your prompt, it basically starts generating, and it'll actually show you the lines of code here on the side as it's coding the quiz. And so that took a little bit, but I'm not going to make you guys wait through that again. I just wanted you guys to see that's kind of what it looks like. And so, like I said, just keep in mind, as long as it's kind of more of a basic game or quiz, it should be able to do a pretty good job with that. So guys, that is really it for today. I hope that you enjoyed this session. And so I'm going to go back, and I'm going to leave the QR code for the session at the end there. You're more than welcome to stick around and ask questions. Be more than happy to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and end this recording for YouTube. If you've joined us on YouTube, thank you so much, and we will see you next time.